Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to make and maintain the best fire in your old country Pecos using the 2-1-2 method. Stay tuned, let's get into it. This is a good one. All right guys, before moving forward, let's talk about wood because it is the most important thing for this episode. This wood comes from, let's first talk about that, Academy Sports. Gourmet wood products. It's over there in the barbecue and grilling section. I'm not using post oak today, but this is hands down the best wood. I've probably used 150 of these boxes. This is the best wood that you can get if you need to in a pinch for this smoker. Unless you got a wood guy that knows how to properly dry the wood and, you know, it's got the right moisture content and so on and so on. If other than that, you need something, this is it right here. It's the perfect sizes. About 12 inches, 2 inch by 2 inch on some of them, about 3 inch, 3.5 inch by 2 inch on some of them. But these sizes are perfect. All of this is hickory. I got one very, very dry piece of post oak, and this is important because what we're gonna do is we're gonna start a fire with this, and then we're gonna put 2 moderately sized or smaller sized pieces of log over this while it's lighting. This is the 2-1-2 method, and it is gonna be the best method for you to understand how to maintain the best fire for this smoker. So I'm gonna go chop all this up right here, get it into small kindling, and let's get started. All right guys, here's what I've got here. I've got one long piece. Let me get over here and see if this will be a little bit better. I've got one long piece here that I'm gonna run across like this. And then I'm gonna take all of these other ones and kind of set them up like this and just get a really good fire going. And then I'm gonna place the 2 logs that I want to get this thing up to temp on top. Also, you're gonna need a torch like that, or you can use some organic fire starters, but there's a reason I'm doing it this way. We don't want to use up a bunch of space getting charcoal in here or lump coal or whatever and just have all that burned down quickly. We need to utilize the curve of the bottom of this because you see how there's kind of like some space under there? Well, at least for 10 hours, we're gonna take these pieces of wood and cook a brisket around, you know, that duration. And the ashes aren't gonna build up so high where you take one of these pieces of hickory and it be completely up to this point and you've run out of airspace. What I'm trying to say is you don't want to start with anything other than just wood because you will run out of airspace if you start out with lump charcoal or whatever. There'll be too much ash underneath all this and you won't be able to have this air gap. It's essential. And I'll show you why here pretty soon because this method requires, you know, being able to adjust it like that or like that, and you'll see here in just a minute. So let's get this started and I'll show you how to do this. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the whole smoker, get everything opened up, and then we're gonna light. You can use a fire starter, organic fire starter thing, or a torch like me. And I'm just gonna get all this lit until it's on fire. I'm just gonna let it sit for a minute and kind of burn up until we have a very small coal bed. So let me get this going and I'll show you what to do next. All right guys, so that's lit. We're gonna let it burn down, and then we're gonna put those 2 pieces of wood on there. And yeah, so this is a good time to grab a beer, hang out, and just kind of chill, wait till this burns down. Okay, so I'm liking this, it's going very well. I'm gonna go over here and grab one of these pieces with bark on it. Bark is pretty strong if it's got, you know, some lichen on there or some sort of mold, or not mold, moss. You know, go ahead and get rid of it and burn it off. It's not, I don't really say it's gonna hurt in the cook, but I mean, I don't really like it. So let's get that on there, see if that can catch fire, get some of these burnt down. And you see how severe it is, how far up it is off the 2 walls right here? A lot of airspace underneath. If any coals fall down, make sure to keep it underneath that. I'm gonna go ahead and actually try and put the second piece on the front side here so we can try to get this going. Just like that. Actually, I'm gonna turn it this way, like that. Now, we're gonna have to play with this a lot. I guess you can do this with 2 pieces of lump charcoal or 3 or whatever. But I like doing it this way. I don't want to go buy a bag of lump charcoal and, you know, have to do this, you know, with a couple pieces. I mean, I guess you can buy a bag and keep it next to the smoker or whatever and just use it for starting it like this. But I like the pureness of just using the wood. It's the whole experience, is what I feel. So let's let this burn down and let's get these 2 logs caught on fire, and we'll close it up and I'll show you how to maintain this thing at a perfect 225, 250 temperature. Also, once you know this thing is going good and you're like, okay, well, I'd close everything up. Important tip, take your biggest piece of wood, put it in the back so it can start drying even more. I think these are a little bit thicker, so put those next. And then these 2 at the front. Or you can put those 2 over there. It gets really hot over there as well. Let's close this up. And she's gonna roll. It's doing great. I'm gonna alter these here in a minute. I'm gonna get them down closer to the center of the firebox right here pretty soon, because all those coals are about to burn down from that post oak. That was a very dry piece of wood that you want to use for kindling. That is very important. It'll go smooth as hell, just like this. I promise you, just do it. All right, I'm gonna stay on this while I can. Stay on top of it, I mean. And preferably don't do that with your hand. I'm very well versed in this. It's the only reason why I'm trying to do it that way. I cook, I do catering, I sell barbecue. So this method I use every single time I cook, long cooks, 17 hours, 15 hours, or anything like that. So this works very well. And obviously you can see how well it's going. So as this gets bigger and bigger, the idea is we're gonna move these 2 logs closer and closer to the bottom until you have a small air gap under here, so this can run efficiently and not all wild and huge flames up into the cook chamber there. So let's let it keep going like this. Very, very easy. This is the whole idea here. Low and slow. Let's go check the thermometer actually. Okay, so we're getting up there 200 pretty quickly. So yeah, now we're gonna want to kind of level this out and keep these logs down here close to the cook chamber. Just like that. Now, you see there's a piece of wood right there, and it's limiting me from putting that down. So, not time to cook right now because this is gonna be too fluctuating in temperatures in the cook chamber. So, when these coals get a little bit burnt down and these logs get a little bit burnt up, you'll be able to adjust them a little bit more. But the idea is use the walls as a leverage. You know, the more you crank them up, the more airflow you got, the higher the fire will be. The more you put them down, if you double them up, a lot hotter temperature, a lot more coals, and you get low to the pit here, it'll be a lot more of efficient fire and a little bit lower flame. So that's the idea, that's the principle behind this 2-1-2 method, because after this burns down, I forgot to mention, we're only gonna put on 1 log to reignite. There's gonna be enough coals there to maintain around 225, 250. After that 1 log burns down, we're gonna go back to 2 because there's not gonna be enough coals if you put 1 on there to get it back up. So it's very, very easy, very, very simple. So let's let this burn up. I'll get back to you when it's time to do something, and I'll see you here in a minute. All right, guys, let's check and see where we're at. 200 degrees, doing great. Those pieces of wood have burned down. Excellent. Now see, I'm gonna crank that up on the wall like that. I'm gonna get that one a little bit higher as well to get more oxygen down there. And you see how the fire's going up just a little bit? And I can hear these as well. They're a little bit wet because I've left them outside, but that's okay. Right now would be an excellent time to start cooking. It's right around 200 degrees. It's getting up there. This is great smoke. That bark is burning off. I don't like the bark on there. It's really strong, but take a look at it. It's got good smoke. Well, shoot, you can't really see it. Let's see if we can go this way. It's got good smoke. Oh yeah, great smoke coming out of there. Perfect, love it. You can start cooking. That is a really good fire, low and slow. So it started choking out a little bit, and I wanted to show you guys something. There's a little piece that fell down that hasn't been burnt from the bark yet, push that sucker in the center if you got bark, so it can be used as fuel to get these going. Or keep these going, not get these going. Yeah, that wood's piece of wet, I can hear it. But that's great, I like that. For the first part of cooking, I mainly cook briskets now, but for the first part of cooking, if you take a look at that, it's a lot of smoke coming. Well, it's not a lot, but it's the right amount of smoke. And that's now doing great. I love this method. I've tried the charcoal, I've tried the lump coal, I've tried everything. This is by far my favorite, because in this cooker, I start out around 200, and then I go to 225, and then I go to 275 to finish off briskets and max out at 300. Also, while you're cooking, I want to tell you something. Let me zoom out a little bit. This thermometer is going to be, varying in ranges. Don't ever let it go past, don't ever let it go below 200. It can go past all this, but you're going to have hot spots on your food. You're going to char this side a lot more than this side. So be careful. Keep it in a range. This thing is an electric oven, so it's not going to cook amazing. Well, it's going to cook amazing, but it's not going to cook as efficient. That's what I mean, as an electric oven. It's not going to stay on the dot all day long. You're going to have variations, and that's okay. If it drops down, to like right here, that's okay. Don't let it go, way, way down here. Don't be drinking too many beers. Stay right here, and, get over here to the firebox, put something in there, work with it a little bit, and I'll show you that here in just a second, what we're supposed to do. Especially with it getting low like this, let's see if we can do something. Because that fire is a little bit low, and I noticed that temperature is a little bit low. So let's flip this guy over, like that. Fresh side of wood there, buddy. How about that, my guy? And it's because that piece of wood is wet. That's gonna start catching here in just a minute. Bada bing, bada boom. Check that out. Put it up on the sidewall right there. That's gonna start getting really high on fire because we gave it more oxygen. That's the key to this whole fire management game here. Oxygen, more airflow. Don't matter how hot your coals are, you want airflow. I can hear everything crackling, I can hear everything going. Get this guy up here a little bit higher. Let's see if we could do something. There we go. Oh, man. Okay, let's see what's wrong. This one's shorter. So, when it's like that, check this out. Push it up over there on that side. Push it up on that side right there. Pull this guy back. Boom. More airflow under there. Look at that. Easy peasy. Now, it's okay. See how dirty it got? It's okay. Quick second, no worries. But look at that. I got the fire back. This is going to start burning great. This will probably be the best technique for this wood because it's a little bit wet. I did let this get wet. I wish I just did the video straight from the box, but this is okay. All right, guys, I'll check in with you whenever it gets down to the point to add a log. See you guys in a bit. Real quick before I go on, if you did that and you saw how I moved it over there to that side of the wall a little bit and then I cranked up that side on that wall, if you have too much airflow and this is engulfing and getting way too big, just take both of these logs and move it closer to the center to reduce the size of that flame. And it's gonna kind of choke out those pieces of wood and kind of gauge it, go a little bit at a time and see what the temperature of the thermometer does up there on the cooker. Just work with it, just play with it. It's all about the airflow. Oh yeah, and all you guys using those plates and all the freaking baskets and all that nonsense, you're really missing out. I'll tell you right now, I try to stay as humble as possible, but I have hundreds of people telling me my food is amazing. Really try and consider this method if you'd like. I insist. But if not, there's a million ways. Like Harry Sue says, Jerry Springer fight, how to do fires and barbecue and so on and so on. This is just what works for me, for a lot of people. All right, guys, I'll check back in here in a minute. All right, guys, we're still around the 200 mark, and I was, having a little bit of low flame. I tried moving it up, I tried moving it down, and I now have just flipped them over because the back sides have dried out, and now I got fire. So this is going great. I've maintained a nice, close to 200 degree temperature. And this is excellent. Now, if I would have put food on right now, this is a-okay. This is perfectly fine. This is the start of cooking. It's perfectly fine. So, like I said before, let's let these burn down, and then I'll show you what to do after, because we're gonna have a lot of hot coals after this, and I'll show you what to do when it comes to them splitting in the middle, because you're gonna have multiple pieces. You might have to move them around and just kind of play with them a little bit to get them to keep staying lit like this. But after these, we're only doing one. That's why it's the 2-1-2 method, because there's gonna be so many coals, you wanna just put one piece on there because it's gonna light up very, very quick. And we're gonna take the hottest one, the most dried one, since it's back here in the back, closest to this flame. So let's let these die down. I can still hear that hissing a little bit. That's why it's giving me problems, but no worries. I've been at 200 for a while, so I'm doing great. All right, guys, see you here in a minute. All right, guys, here is where we're at, sorry. These are burning very well. I've kind of, flipped them as necessary. These are a little bit wetter because I did leave them outside, but that's okay. I've kept the flame going. I've kept them, a little bit up, get some oxygen in there underneath. And that's all in the name of the game, that oxygen. If it's too high, bring it down, like I said. If it's too low, bring it up so you can get more heat up there. But no more than 2 logs, and you'll be able to maintain this entire cook that you're doing. So let's check out our temperature here. 200, that's perfect. I like doing 200 for, starting out with brisket. But this is great. I know I keep telling you I'll get to you whenever it's burned down all the way, but we're getting real close. We're getting to some really important steps here, because after all this look at that. After all this turns into coal, I think this one's about to fall apart. We're gonna put one on there, like I said, and I'll show you exactly what we need to do. All right, see you in just a second. Okay, let me zoom out. Perfect opportunity to tell you guys about this. Drop in temperature, not good. We're gonna start trying to shoot up around the 225 to 250 range right now. I know it's crazy, Goldies and all these other people out here do 200 for, however long and so on and so on. But for this smoker, this is what works for me. I stay from 225 to 250 range for a very long time from here on out. When I'm starting to do these, it's okay if you actually get at the 225 to 250 in the beginning, because my wood was wet because I left it out in the rain. So if your wood straight out of the box is dry and you get right up to the 225 to 250 range, that's okay. Just keep it right there and maintain. I'm just adapting for this cook. So we got some sad stuff going on in there. Now, if I add a piece of wood right now, it's gonna be too much. And what I need to do, be very careful if you touch fire like that. What I need to do is get all this stuff kind of stacked on the remnants and see what we can kind of make happen. And if nothing is going to happen, we're going to throw a log on the top here. I don't think anything's going to happen. Yeah, not too much. Okay, so we're going to take our driest piece of wood. Actually, that's a little too big. This one's pretty dry. Okay, take our driest piece of wood, and we're gonna put this stuff in the back, kind of stacked up like that, and it's gonna kind of help out with the fire to the front of this piece of log. And again, I've got some airspace going under, and it's gonna allow it to ignite here in just a moment. Getting kind of smoky like this is okay. If you don't want it like that, go ahead and open up the cooker and spritz or do whatever you gotta do to not let all this smoke get on there. But as I said that, it's igniting. So it'll be all right. Oh, almost dropped you guys. It'll be okay. Make sure there is airflow underneath there. Should ignite here any moment. There we go, it's catching in the back. Voila. Okay, I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna turn off the camera though, because this might get too high, and I'm gonna show you what to do. Okay guys, so this is going great. It didn't flare up too high. Maybe I can get it low right there. The back is doing great. Maybe kind of just mess with it a little bit. Get some of those coals broken up back there to get it a lot more heat going here. Okay, perfect. I like it. It's going nice and low and slow. Let me get this opened up a little bit right here. You know, keep in mind you want airflow under there. So open that up a little bit, just like that. Boom. Let's check out our temperature. See, what'd I tell you? We're at 225 now. So now we're gonna stay in the 225 to 250 range. In the beginning, you most likely started out, whenever you put 2 logs on there, at the 225, 250 range, or that's where it went, or it got even hotter. Just remember, if it gets that high, crank it down low, get it close to the cylinder of the bottom of the firebox to kind of choke out that piece of wood. Now, I'm gonna let this keep rolling, and I'll come back to you whenever this thing has burned out. It'll be about 30 minutes. It's getting kind of dark here, so I'll show you how to put 2 more on to maintain the 225, 250 range, and that'll be it. That's the 2-1-2 method. So let's let this burn down. I'll talk to you guys here in just a moment. All right, guys, so here's where we're at. We're getting really, really low, and I want to show you in an emergency situation. I let it go out like this. Usually all of this is going to burn down, okay? If you get to a situation where you've got this log and it's not burning and it's kind of, you know, burned down like this, take your next piece, but make sure it's big. Usually all this will burn down, and then you're going to put on 2 pieces that are kind of, you know, decently sized. But if it's going like this and it's not burning all the way, go ahead and put your second one on. That way it's gonna light, and then you're gonna keep it down real low because it's gonna get real high real soon, and you don't want it to get, you know, really, really hot up in the cook chamber up there. So just give it a moment. See, it's already starting to catch, and there's quite a bit of air gap underneath there. So it's got a lot of oxygen, and it's gonna allow a lot to go up in there. Now, the temperature got real low. This is okay. There's gonna be swings like this, all right? Just don't let this happen all the time. If you do, your cook is gonna be insanely difficult. Catching it early like this and getting a grip on it, I did this on purpose so I could show you guys. But now it's got a good fire. And you know, like I said before, when that one log burns all the way down, go ahead and put your 2 on. The closer you keep it to the cook chamber or the firebox bottom, the lower the fire, the lower the heat. The higher you go up, the more oxygen, the more fire, the more heat. So this right here is gonna get pretty dang hot pretty quick. So I'm gonna keep it pretty low to the bottom of the pit here and kind of choke it off a little bit. I don't want it to go insane. That's probably where I'm gonna leave it. That's a nice good fire right there, and it's gonna go for a very long time, probably 30 minutes, because there's 2 pieces on there now. So just keep an eye on it. If you have to, turn them, you know, flip them, angle them up, do whatever you gotta do. Just keep in mind, lower means low temperature, higher means high temperature, and that's all you gotta know. After this all burns down, only do 1 log, and keep that process going and going and going, and you'll have a great, great cook. Guys, it's getting real late here. I hope you have a fantastic night. I hope this video helped you out. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, take care. See y'all later.